Good evening, everybody, and welcome to today's session. Sonali is joining us from the US today, and I'll just give you a quick formal introduction of Sonali. So Dr. Sonali Luniya is the VP of Corporate Development at Holmusk. Holmusk is a healthcare data science company that is focused on mental health. And at Holmusk, she leads their data acquisition and electronic health record strategy. Prior to this, she was one of the co-founders of Patagonia Health, a bootstrapped healthcare IT company based in North Carolina in the US. As the chief customer officer, she was responsible for the complete customer experience of the Patagonia Health electronic health record and billing system. She engaged their customers in product design during the pre-sales process and oversaw implementation, training, and support to provide the users an excellent experience with Patagonia Health. She is, Dr. Luniya is a PhD in electrical and computer engineering from the North Carolina State University in the US, a bachelor's of engineering in computer science from Pune Institute of Computer Technology, India. She was recently appointed to the Strategic Advisory Board of the Electrical and Computer Engineering Department at North Carolina State University. And last but not least, she was a mentor for the AirSWE project in 2018, where we last met, Sonali, and she mentored women entrepreneurs from the TiE Lucknow chapter. And we are really happy to have you back today. And Sonali is going to today, with all her experience, share a talk on business canvas. And I will now hand over to Sonali to take it from here. Thank you, everybody else, for joining, and would request all the participants, except those speaking, to keep your mics on mute so that we are not disturbed. Please, Sonali, go ahead. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be a part of this discussion again with the Lucknow chapter. For the folks who are attendees, some of them may be folks who have or attended some sessions before. Maybe I have met you, or maybe you have heard me on any previous sessions. It was a pleasure to be in Lucknow in 2018. Hospitality of the Lucknow chapter was very good. And since then, Simran and myself have become good friends. So,
Sonali, I'll just interrupt you for a second. We also have people joining in from TiE Islamabad today. So I see several users from several participants from TiE Islamabad. So welcome all the members from TiE Islamabad also to today's session. Yeah.
Oh, thank you for saying that. It looks like we are going international, so that's great. So the session will probably last till 10:30, which is my time. I'm on the Eastern time zone in the US. And so we have about 15 minutes to go through the presentation. But as you may have heard in the past that I do not go through the presentation fully. I like to keep my sessions interactive. But for today's session, I am going to talk about the business model canvas, and I do have a deck. But before I get into the deck, it would be good to know how many of you on the session today already are working on an idea, already have a business, or are you in late stage of the business where you are working on launching the product or growing the business? It would be good to get a feel of who are the attendees and what would you like to get out of this session. Anybody wants to raise their hand, you can put it in your chat box. I will take at least 10 responses. All right, we have one. Shiza is in the growing the business stage. Vidushi is in the growing the business stage, growth stage. If you don't mind, if you can at least type a few words of what your business is, that would be helpful.
I can go ahead. Can I talk?
Yes, of course.
So I'm also venturing into mental health services. I'm an NLP master practitioner and India's first divorce recovery coach. I work with people who are going through different stages of their divorce journey and helping them with their emotional and mental health services. That's my business model. I've seen recent successes. I've been in it for 2.5 years now and seen recent successes. It inspires me further that there is enough potential and scope and lot of need more than anything else. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. You are venturing on a very tough path here, especially mental health in India is not yet well accepted. Don't worry, it's not very well accepted in the US too, but the force behind it is very large as compared to India. So you are on a tough part. Good luck. I do have some other responses. Anybody who wants to go ahead and unmute themselves, we'll take one from Islamabad.
I can go ahead.
Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Myra, and I'm actually from Karachi, but I guess TiE Islamabad. So what I do is, you can see it said Chirag, Islamabad/Chirag. So Chirag is essentially my edtech, and what we do is that we cover the entire curriculum of primary school. So that's essentially from nursery to grade 5 in local Pakistani languages in an animated way. Essentially, we're making an animated series for the entire primary curriculum, and it's delivered in local Pakistani languages that range from Urdu, Punjabi, Sindhi, Pashto, and so on, so that we can scale education to the masses of Pakistan. And we're currently early stage. We're moving towards monetization, so we're currently facing, fixing the problems of product development and then moving towards monetization.
Okay, thank you for sharing that information. Well, I'm sure the pandemic has helped you on being online and delivering your animation to the primary students. All right, so I do have a lot of other responses pouring in. Somebody is in handmade jewelry, one is in startup education, fragrances, design, senior contract lawyer, fresh produce. All right, so we have a variety here, all the way from professional services to retail. So this is a good mix. So I will share my screen to give you an idea of, oh, I'm so sorry. What we are going to discuss here today. Most of you are in advanced stages. You are not in the ideation phase, but some of you may be. And if you are in the ideation phase and you have an idea and you are thinking, oh, is my idea good enough? Am I going to be able to sell this? Will anybody buy? Is it going to be too expensive? Am I stupid? Should I be doing this? You are not the only one who is thinking of all the positives and all the negatives that would come with launching a business. This is a natural progression. We all have gone through this, myself included, and I'm still willing to do it all over again. So it's great to see all of you who have that mindset and to come here together to share your experiences. But honestly, you are not the only one who is going to go through this process of, am I unique? Am I different? How do I be different? How do I sell this? And that's what we are going to discuss today is, yes, we are going to continue on this journey. We are going to do what we are thinking or whatever our idea is, no matter what, no matter how many people think it's stupid, no matter how many people think it may be expensive, and I will not be able to make this successful. We are going to get on this journey and be successful. If that's the attitude you have, that you are in the right room. If that's not the attitude you have, maybe you should consider going to another Zoom session. So if you are still here, looks like that's the attitude you have, and you are expecting a much preferred outcomes, as we call them, is either you're looking to make money, either you're looking to buy fancy cars, either you're looking for self-satisfaction. If you are looking for all of this, not a problem. But if you are going to say, oh, I don't have time for this, I don't have a life, I'm going to give up my life to make this happen. No, that's not what we are here to discuss. We have to give up our lives to make a business successful. That's just a part of the life that we are going to venture on. And some of you may have already done that or have already realized that, oh my goodness, I did not know it was going to take me 1 year just to figure out that the product is not ready. And I have to spend another 6 months to make the product ready. So this is a part of the journey, but we are still going to continue on this. And I'm sure you have seen many, many stories. I can give you a highlight of my journey itself, and maybe I can speak to another story here. I'm not going to talk about the Airbnb story because most of you probably already know it, but I can give you some other examples. So myself, as Ashish mentioned, I was the Chief Customer Officer and co-founder of Patagonia Health, which is an electronic health record company, which is based here in Cary, North Carolina. We started the company back in 2008. Myself, my husband, and another partner, we started the company together, and we bootstrapped the whole company. So yes, I did put my own sweat, money, tears, blood, everything into it. It was tough. It wasn't easy. We did not know exactly what we were going to build. Yes, we did know that we would build an electronic health record system. Just letting you know what an EHR is. If you have gone to the doctor, you probably see the doctor writes notes or writes something about the patient on a piece of paper and gives you a prescription and you take it to the pharmacy. So most doctors in the US are now mandated to do all of that documentation on a computer, and they can send the notes over to different hospitals and other providers. So that's what an electronic health record system is. The market in India is just picking up on EHR. It's not yet prevalent. But back in 2008, we knew we were going to build something for primary care market, which is your family physician market, because that's where we saw was the biggest market need. But soon we discovered that that market did not have the capital to invest in a software, because they are generally they are not specialists, so their incomes are not that high. So for them to invest in a product was not something that they had the money to do. So obviously that's why that market segment was so behind in adopting an EHR. So soon we had to repivot, and this is what most of you would do, that you would find out that, oh, this is the market segment that I had planned to go launch my product in. So for example, the lady who talked about the animation education tools for the primary students in Islamabad or Karachi, she may find, well, maybe this market segment is already served. I may have to move into higher grades, and maybe I have to get into middle school or maybe into secondary school. And there is nothing absolutely wrong with it. You have to repivot based on where the market trends are and where the market needs are. So soon at Patagonia Health, and after 2-3 years, we realized that we do have to move up the market, and we moved into bigger practices, and we moved into mental health, where the practices here are larger. They are not single doc practices. And we moved into public health, which is public health. Everybody knows what public health is after the pandemic. So that's how we repivoted. And after 4 years of being in the company, we became profitable. Since then, the company has grown, and the company is still operating. Our third partner, or the CEO, is running the business, and I have decided to go do something more interesting and work for a data science company now. So we all have gone through this journey. And another story I can tell you is the local company here, since it's something that you may relate to. I can just give you an example. There's a company here which does car washing. They started off back around the same time when we started, back in 2009, 2010 timeframe. And they would go from resident to resident, as in home to home, to do car washing, so that it is convenient for the citizens to not bring their cars over to the car washing place. You can get them done while they are at home. Of course, that means I need to make the business profitable. I have to have volume, because it's one car at a time and one customer at a time. Soon they realized that their crew was not busy during certain hours of the day. And obviously they were not busy during the nights, because residents don't want that. They realized school buses need car washing too, and they don't operate in the night. So they launched their fleet or their crew to work in the night, so that they can clean school buses, or any buses for that matter, which don't operate in the night. That's how they got into this 24-hour cycle. Soon after that, they realized that, oh, all these rental car companies or other modes of transportations or taxis, and everybody needs cleaning too. They don't operate on certain hours of the day. And especially on weekends here in the US, the rental car companies don't have much business on the weekends. That's when they do car washing. So they launched their crew again on the weekends. So they got into this 24/7 cycle, starting from being customer to customer, B2C. Now they've gotten into B2B. And in the last 10 years, the company has grown, and they're doing $150 million of revenue every year now. So all these companies go through the cycle, but they all start with a business model of, they have to have a mission. They have to have a vision. What is it that they are trying to do? What problem in the community or in the industry or in the market they are trying to solve? So I would like to hear from some of you, and maybe I should give somebody else a chance. Maybe let's pick this person who is in the clothing brand, Shafia Mirza. If you can give me some idea of what your business vision is and what problem in the market you're trying to solve.
Hi, everyone. So basically, we are trying to, not just design, but also sell saris in Pakistan. So we've recently noticed that a lot of people are not just interested in wearing saris, but they also want to buy. And we thought that accessibility was one of the issues. We do not have an exclusively sari brand or a shop that we see in the market in the shopping malls and all of it. So we want to improve not just the variety in itself, but also the accessibility by establishing shops inside malls in the cities and all. So we thought that was one thing that we could address. Yeah.
So the problem you're trying to solve is access.
Yes, access and also variety. It can be casual wear, and finding those is also not easy in Pakistan. You have to import, and also we want to locally produce and design and also.
So excellent. So you have identified a problem, and you're very focused on you're going to solve the access and variety problem.
Yes.
So that's great. We'll come back to you when we start talking more about how as we go through the deck, when we specifically have to do SWOT analysis. Anybody else? How about the fresh produce grocery online business?
Hello, assalamu alaikum. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Okay, so the model on which I'm working is B2B. Basically, I'm providing fresh produce to the restaurants and marts, so they don't have to purchase from the local markets, and I'm giving them fresh, sorted and clean ones, so they are saving their time by getting them on their doorsteps without any wastage.
Okay. All right. So again, you are solving the problem of delivery or convenience?
Both. I'm solving their problem of delivery, their logistics issue, and their time saving, their issue of wastage and throwing the extra vegetables on daily basis in the streets, and all these type of issues I'm solving at a time.
Okay. And then how about the senior contract lawyer issue?
I am handling it with some of, basically I'm working with some government organizations. So I have proper documentation, and tax issues are already resolved.
So, so you are
Hello.
working with the government organizations to do what as a lawyer?
No, I have a lawyer, and we are doing everything according to the government demands. So we first complete the documentation of the government, whatever needed, and after that we start our supply on contract base.
So I'm sorry, is this still about the grocery business, or is this about the senior contract lawyer and French trainer issue?
No, it's about the grocery business only,
Okay.
but we have to, yeah.
All right,
But
so
we have
sure.
to sign a contract for that.
Makes sense. So you're solving the problem of convenience, and also you are making sure that you are doing this legally, or you're following
Yes.
regulation. All right.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Let's move to Rishu, the senior contract lawyer and French trainer. Would like to hear from you what problem you're solving.
Yeah, hi, Rishu this side. As a senior contract lawyer, I am actually working with a US-based company. And besides that, I'm also teaching French. And so I've been working in corporate since a couple of years now. This is my 7th year into corporate. And I'm planning to have my own startup in education. But then when it comes to education, so I don't want to make it sound very, very redundant or what is conventionally available. So when it comes to education, so besides teaching a foreign language, I want to add on courses like which would work on your cognitive and analytical skills, because when such skills are imparted to children, so they are able to grasp the concept in a better way. So such kind of courses I want to introduce for the kids. My target audience is primarily the kids, so that I could actually prepare them for a better future tomorrow.
Okay, so you're going to customize your courses for kids.
Yes, that's
okay.
right.
All right, great. So so that's good to hear that everybody has figured out a market problem and is trying to solve that market problem. You should be focused. And that's something that most people do not, they miss that whole point that, oh, it's a great idea, but do you know whose problem you're solving or what problem you're solving and why you're solving the problem? If you have that defined, then yes, you would come up with a mission statement and a vision statement, and it'll be a lot easier for you to plan and execute. There are different frameworks that you will see in various business discussions of how to go about building a business plan. There is no one way, there is no standard template, but in general, it should be covering your company vision or your product vision, and then how you would execute. But before we go to that, first we have to understand, we have to put our idea through the ringer and do a SWOT analysis to understand what the strengths of our idea are, what our weaknesses are, opportunities, and what the threats are. Has anybody done SWOT analysis before, or at least have heard this term before?
I've heard about this terms during my MBA time. So we used to have business case studies, and there we used to study and obviously analyze the business opportunities, threats, and of course the problems.
Okay, anybody else?
Yes, we have heard this particular term.
Okay, so it looks like quite a few of you have heard this term. So let's go through this exercise. If any one of you wants to speak up about your SWOT analysis, or maybe I can go through the theory first and we can maybe do some SWOT analysis of while we are in the Zoom session of a couple of businesses that we are discussing here. So the strength, obviously, S obviously stands for the strength. It should be helpful in achieving your objective. Weakness is something that's going to go against you and is going to be harmful in achieving your objective. Opportunities is the O. So these are external. These are something that is the market opportunity or market trends, market needs. This, you have to identify where those opportunities are. And threats are also external because the market keeps changing, technology keeps changing. People could change. There could be a pandemic, which is a threat that nobody really accounted for many years, but probably people will now. But these are the four quadrants that you have to work through to identify where your business is. And accordingly, you have to make your business plan to address all these four items. So what is a strength? And the strength could be in different places. It could be a product strength. It could be a people strength. It could be your organization strength. It could be capital that you have, which is a strength. So they are in different domains. So I would like you all to take a piece of paper and at least write one or two strengths down, or maybe you can do this in your head if you don't have your piece of paper. Write one or two strengths down of your particular organization or product or business that you're trying to launch. Did everybody finish their exercise? So what could be possibly a strength of, let's say, that sari business in Pakistan?
I think for us, it would be the variety that we are offering. And also we're also selling offering stitched sarees, so it's not unstitched, so it's easy to wear if people are not very used to used to of wearing sarees. And also another strength would be the accessibility, that people can come and actually look at the dress and decide if they want to. So this is what I could come up with at the top of my head.
Sure.
I have a
So
question.
you're going to introduce the 1 minute sari?
The 1 minute saree?
Yeah, which is, it's already stitched, you just wear it. You don't
Yes.
have to tie it.
Yes. Yeah.
I have one
That's,
of
Tanya, I
those.
have
that's
a
one challenge that
question.
we've been like literally having, not knowing how to wear a sari. So
Mhm.
it's a 1 minute thing. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Somebody else has wanted to contribute
I had a
something.
question. In the strengths, do we talk about the USP, or do we talk about how will what will be the benefit that the society will get, or the people will get? Will it be the benefits, or will it be our USP that will become our strength?
It can be both. It can be both. If it's USP, which is a product strength, it's something if you're talking about the value that it will bring to the customer, which means you're solving a customer's need. So that could be a market strength. So it could be either.
In the mental health space, I've been wondering. I'm trying to, trying to figure out what would it be.
So the strength that you have, are you delivering mental health services online, or are you doing it face to face?
Both.
So that's your strength. You have the ability to deliver it online. So they don't have to travel.
Okay.
And access to mental health care is a lot easier, and it's not limited to your local area. It would be across the whole country.
Understood. Okay. Got it. Got it. Understood. Yeah.
Anybody else, others who have not spoken before, I'm happy to take their input.
I think in my case, since I'm planning something pertaining to education, so obviously I would love to start my venture in both the mediums, online as well as offline, in order to have a global reach. And also, I would like to introduce those courses which are not either not available or which are rarely available in order to mitigate the competition that way. And when it comes to designing the courses, I would like to customize it in that way. For example, if I have to educate the kids about the business insights also, for example, nowadays these cryptocurrencies, such kind of things are very in. So I would actually prepare my module in such a way that even a layman can understand, or even a kid as old as like a 7-year-old or 8-year-old can really understand these things.
Mm-hmm.
So these are my strengths. On these things I'll be working upon.
Sure. Okay. So, all right. So looks like a lot of you have thought through your strengths, and in your case about the education, you're solving the problem of access, delivery, customization, technology, medium to pay, etc. Right? So all of those become strengths.
Yes, that's right.
Mm-hmm. Then the next thing you have to identify for yourself, and I would like everybody to go through this, is weaknesses, which is basically what is going to prevent us from accomplishing our business or our mission. So are there any external influences which would negatively affect the growth of the business or the launch of the business to begin with? If there are any regulations which would get in the way, if there are any equipment or technology or your product or your human capital or your talent, any of this you have to identify is a weakness. It will be good for you to identify that and write that down. Or it could be something in the market trend that maybe these things are not as popular, so that becomes a weakness too. Or actually that may become a threat if the market's trends are reversing.
Weakness is something which is internally influenced or externally influenced.
Weaknesses are internal.
So can we say that we have a untrained staff, so that comes under weakness?
Mm-hmm. Yes, talent or staff, human capital, everything that is considered a weakness. If you don't have it could be a strength, it could be a weakness based on who you have.
Like, for example, if we have a marketing, we lack in marketing strategies, so that can be a weakness.
Yes, it can be a weakness, but weaknesses can be overcome. But your first step is to identify where your weakness is.
I think I have a weakness that is large wastage of raw materials if I'm not properly maintaining the cycle of my operations, because I am dealing with the fresh produce and I cannot afford it to get any loss, because after all it's fresh and I have to deal within a day.
Yes, that's true. So that is a weakness. So when you come up with the business strategy, you have to work around that weakness. What is it that you can do in your supply or in your operations to avoid that wastage?
I have a remedy for that. I'm working on some kind of preservation methods. I am also offering some frozen vegetables, some blanched vegetables, some the vegetables converted into pickles and sauces, so I can save the wastage. And I am also giving the opportunity for the females who are working from home, so they can prepare these kind of sauces and pickles for me, so I can transfer them to the local markets. So I am saving the produce, and also I'm giving the opportunities to the local females who are uneducated, but they have the skills to make these kind of pickles and sauces.
Oh, that's great. Would like to hear from others their weaknesses. So you are definitely ahead. You have identified your weakness and you have identified strategies of how to overcome them.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Saima Dastagir and I'm from TiE Women Islamabad. I'm Sonali. I'm doing a spices business. It's a pure organic spices business, and it's a women empowerment project. I always want to empower those ladies who belong to a good family, but they are illiterate. So my business weaknesses are illiterate staff, and I always start from the beginning and from the zero to train every single individual when I hire them. This is the weakness of my business. Second is marketing. I'm lacking in marketing. What I feel, though I am getting good response from the market, and I'm getting so many clients, good clients and valuable clients from the market, but still I'm not satisfied with the target I set, because my target is to within 5 years I have to accommodate 5,000 females in my spices business. So how to overcome, please suggest me.
So the first question I have is why is the target 5,000 women?
Well, in our society, divorce ratio is very, very high.
Sorry, we can't hear you anymore. I think she's frozen. We can't hear her anymore. So while we wait for her to come back, we can move on to the next topic. I want to make sure that we have enough time to discuss everything. The next one is opportunities, and this is external. You have to recognize where the opportunities are, and those opportunities could be in the growing market trends, it could be in the environment, it could be changes in regulations, it could be a pandemic where people found a lot of opportunities of delivering services and delivering goods online. We have to find where those market opportunities are, and what can be, if there is a disruption in the market, always any disruption always leads to more opportunities. So again, I would like all of you to go through this exercise and think of the opportunities for your business. And if anybody wants to speak up, please feel free.
I think I already have shared the opportunities created by the strategies I made for the elimination of some of my weaknesses, and like giving employment and using these kind of vegetables or fresh produce, or and converting them into the useful final product and delivering them to the homes, to the ladies especially when I have some items left. I try to contact such clients like working ladies who come to home and they have the task, huge task of cooking and serving their families. So they have just the ordered the fresh chopped vegetables or frozen vegetables, and they can easily cook within a minute or two. So I am giving them opportunities to reduce their time, reduce their efforts, and just pay for the item and use them. Maybe.
Sure, yeah. You've already spelled out your opportunities. So I'd like to hear from somebody else who has not spoken up before.
So, hello.
Yes.
So I'm basically operating in the education sector, and since the new education policy is implemented in India, so it actually throws a lot of new avenues in the education sector. So working in education sector actually brings it opens a hell lot of opportunities for the new startups whereby they can actually contribute.
So that's your opportunity, right? Change in regulation.
Yeah.
And so support from the government or change in regulation is your opportunity. So many other startups are going to make use of that.
Yes, definitely. But so since opportunity is there, but at the same time, competition is also there. But we have to differentiate from competitors in order to penetrate that particular market.
Right, and that's where you have to identify what your strengths are.
Exactly.
That's how these things tie together. So there's an opportunity, but with every opportunity comes competition. So how do you differentiate yourself? And if you say something specific is your strength, it does come with a weakness. None of these work in isolation. They all go hand in hand.
Right.
Anybody else wants to share?
Assalamualaikum. Hello.
Yes.
I'm Maliha here. And I'm running an online platform of ladies. Sonali, are you listening?
Yes, I am. Yes.
Okay.
I
I'm
can
running
hear
an
you.
online platform which I have started because I have little kids and I am not so much social person and I don't go outside from home. So I started collaborating with ladies who are doing home-based businesses on their WhatsApps. And Alhamdulillah, it's been now 5 years and we also have opened a shop. My weaknesses are basically that loyalty from people, which is I think so every business face in any circumstances, but due to some financial issues I also face this issue too much. Nowadays I'm working on the opportunity that I am going to engage youngsters like the students which are doing studies and bachelors. I am also started working on them to that they got engaged with me, and if they start helping because they have no such home responsibilities and other responsibilities, although there are some that you can say are weaknesses and I am facing things which are not in favor, but I think that everything is not 100% good in every situation. So I need basically the thing I'm facing is the financial issue, and the other is the good team. So I am now working on the fresh graduates and or even they are the primary or middle level students. They can engage with me, or any lady with the little kids who want to do something. She can engage their business with me. I help them in making their market, because not only money is necessary for a good business, but also a good market. Your PR and your social circle is also very necessary when you do a business.
Yes. So that's good. How much have you grown your business? What stage are you in? Looks like we lost her. So we're going to move to the last topic, which is threats. And these are external too. They are threats that you had not expected. They could be from the environment. They could be some change in government regulation. It could be change in technology. It could be loss of capital, lots of competition. Stock market crashed, so we don't have any capital. There's no capital in the market to raise anymore. So there are many things that you had not expected. They would happen. And this is not something you can control, but you have to figure out ways of how you would overcome, how you would work around these threats, and you have to pass that chasm which this threat would bring. So it would be good for you to go through the exercise of identifying what threats you have. And it could be your employees are a threat because they may have ganged up and there's an unrest, or they are just disgruntled employees, they're not happy. So that becomes a threat too.
Yes, it's also a threat. I know, and even I also mentioned the economic inflation all around the world also affects the home-based businesses and all the things which are in our mind.
Yes, they do. Yes, it does. It becomes pretty local pretty quickly. Even if any changes in global economy, it becomes local very quickly.
Yes, and it changes very quickly. Fast and fast. But because we are sitting at our home and we are doing on the small levels now, so we are not we are not as much equipped to fight financially or go all the hazards in one jump. So my business also very much suffered, very much suffered with this economical crisis.
Yes. Yeah, which is true, but it will come back up. So you have to come up with a plan of how you would ride or survive for the next 12 months, 12 to 24 months before the economy ramps up again. Have others identified their threats?
Yeah. Yes, in my case, it can be, since I believe that due to online classes which were actually happening last 2 years for the kids, so they are more acquainted with the softwares like Zoom and Google Meet. So one of the threats which come into my mind, so tomorrow if these software companies plan to go on a paid basis, so I'll obviously end up losing the kids with whom I was actually connected via online, because teaching about a new technology to kids or maybe to the people around, it's actually a challenge.
It is, yeah, which is true. That is a threat and a weakness, both, because weakness is you're relying on somebody else's technology. But at the same time, if this happens, then you are not the only one. Those same kids are also using Zoom and Google Meet for other tools. So they would be forced to use any other new free tool that gets introduced in the market. And you would have to switch over to that new free tool. And some of them may just go to the paid version. So that is a weakness and it is a threat. So you can overcome the weakness by building your own tool, which needs investment, which may not be the most best thing to do, but you will have to repivot your delivery mode very quickly to be tool agnostic, so that this does not continue to be a weakness, and you will not be threatened by this threat of anybody trying to move from freemium model to premium model, or charging or changing or increasing the service fees. Yes, that's right. And the another threat which is there in my mind, because the courses obviously which I'm planning, those are auxiliary in nature. So when it comes to education, then obviously everybody has been the victim of the COVID era, pre-COVID and post-COVID era. So I believe that and obviously that this mass resignation thing happened back in US, and all those things. So if you talk about the parent, because I'm also a parent to a kid,
So obviously my preference goes for the primary courses, which are the part and parcel of the main education system. So when it comes to auxiliary courses, that will always be the secondary choice. So being a parent, I really have to take time and have to make a prudent decision whether should I enroll my kid for an auxiliary course or not, or if I enroll my ticket for an auxiliary course, will that be an add-on benefit in his regular education system? So I believe that is also one of the challenges which I'm thinking of.
Yeah, that's true. That came with your vision. That challenge came with your vision statement that you wanted to introduce auxiliary courses, right? So, so what you have to decide is what business metric does this impact? Because it's an auxiliary case, do you need volume of students, or can you change your price so that even though it's low volume, it can be high price? Because you're introducing a special course, it could be at a high price, but fewer students would participate. So your metric that gets impacted is your income.
Yes, that's true.
So that's how you come up with a strategy of mitigating the weakness that you have, or the market weakness, that the market is limited. It's a small market, but you still want to be a profitable business, whether you deliver a primary course or a special course. Possibly most of the resources that are required are probably similar. Maybe a special course is a little bit more expensive because it needs special material. So you accordingly price more too, but you would expect a low volume of students.
Yeah, that's correct.
Anyone else has any questions?
Ma'am, my name is Afshan. I am founder and CEO of Fast Moves Packages. I am running an industrial setup, and I created an innovative enterprise by integrating printing, designing, printing, packaging, and logistics. As there was no any such digital portal for packaging, paper packaging, so I took the opportunity from the market to come up with the digital e-commerce packaging portal where you can get each and every paper related packages, whether it's cardboard, it's cartons, or it's any kind of paper material. So the threats I'm facing are like in hike in prices due to hyperinflation, because already there is competition in the market. There are many other packages, but they are either dealing only in cartons or only in cardboard boxes or only with the printing. But I created a one-stop shop solution for my market. And the hike in prices is one of the threat. Apart from that, the shortage of paper these days is another threat coming up, so we need to deal with it, and we are having research on it, like how to mitigate that risk as well. And apart from that, there is another like the competition is very intense, so the customers, and to keep our products quality better and prices reasonable. So we are working on that, and we are also coming up with innovation in the packages. Like we want to make it unique from other packaging which are manufacturing the same products.
Yeah, so for your packaging, the shortage of labor seems like it's a global problem. It's not specific to India or US. Are there any steps in your packaging that you could automate so that you are not so reliant on your labor or your staff? Is one way, but that needs investment. And given that your raw material cost is going up, so obviously your end product would be more expensive too. So have you still maintained your profit margin is something that you have to think about.
Yes, definitely. We are in collaboration with different paper mills, like not within the city. There is only one paper mill here, and because of the monopoly, they are already having very high prices. And with the inflation, it has increased further. So we are in contact with paper mills from other localities based in Lahore, in Karachi, and in Haripur, etc. We want to order the material in bulk, and but it requires huge financing, as we have to make them total advance cash payments.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
we
yeah.
are also up with the financing problems. So that's how we are trying to mitigate this risk.
Yeah, and that certainly is a challenge. So we have only 5 minutes left. I just want to make sure we move on. We went through this whole exercise of SWOT analysis. I hope everybody has at least done this in their head or have written this down on paper. If you haven't, please do this afterwards. It is a very, very strong and powerful tool, but keep in mind it's pretty subjective too, because each of those are there is no market data specifically to back up each one of those quadrants. So it is a subjective tool, but at the same time, it is very powerful and it is a pretty commonly used tool for your strategic planning and business planning. So last, but I would like to just give you a preview of what your business plan should be. It does take time. This is not something that you're going to develop overnight, and you will iterate through it. And there is no one format, but it should cover one, your product vision, your product mission, or your company's mission. And then how would you fulfill the mission as in your execution, starting from how would you build the product, operations, sales, marketing, human capital, which is human resources, the financing itself, and any IT needs specifically. We just call that out here. It could be IT, it could be machinery, it could be logistics, it could be supply chain. So whatever needs to happen to maintain your operations, those are generally a content of a business plan. And I can open the session for any questions while we have the last 3 minutes. Anyone has any questions or want to share anything?
I have a question, Sonali. Yeah,
Yes.
Rishu this side. I wanted to ask because when it comes to launching any product or service, obviously an intense market research is required. So I wanted to understand in terms of my service, which I'm planning to impart to kids. So when it comes to market research, so what should it actually include? You know, what should be the parameter of conducting a market survey with your market research?
So number one thing, for any market research, you don't have to do a PhD thesis out of it. You don't have to get it right all the way down to the last number. And a lot of folks spend a lot of time. I'm just letting you know this is from experience, but you generally want to know what is your target accessible market, which is your TAM. You want to know what is your SAM, which is your service accessible market. So you could start as broad as how many kids in that age group, if you're looking for 1st to 4th grade or pre-K or kindergarten, nursery, whatever age group you're looking for, how many such kids are in India? Or maybe you can limit it to just Uttar Pradesh, maybe you limit it only to Lucknow. So based on how far you want to grow, is you could have a TAM, it could be as big as India, it could be as big as your state. And then your service addressable market becomes your specific area that you want to expand in, and you can actually reach out to them in the next 1 or 2 years. That will be your age. How many of them are in school? And if you are doing something which is an augmentation to the school, then you want to get that number, how many of them are actually going to school, or how many of them are out of school, and which market segment are you addressing? Are you addressing the market segment of students enrolled in school, or the market segment of students who are not enrolled in school? And then you can narrow it down even further, is how many, if you're looking for delivery is online, how many of them have access to computers or cell phones or internet or any of that? So you have to look at various parameters which would impact your business. Looking at, if you're not going to address students in Kerala, there's no reason for them to be in your service addressable market. They can be in your TAM, your target addressable market, but they will not be in your service addressable market. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you so much, Sonali.
Any other questions? I can stay on for another minute or two. We're almost at time.
One is the service addressable market, which was the other one you said?
Target addressable market, which is the TAM.
Help me understand these concepts, please.
So target addressable market is the total market which can be reached out to. So it could be, like I said, in this case of the education, it could be the entire population of India in that age group. And you may not be able to address that market in your near-term business plan. That could be your growth opportunity in the future, but that's not the market you're addressing right away. So then you narrow it, then the service addressable market is a subset of your TAM, is the market that you're going to address in the near-term future.
Help me understand what parameters should we use to bring it down to a SAM, which I understand is the more direct, the market we should work in. How should we start excluding and prioritize that little marketing? What parameters? Attributes?
So the simple thing would be, can you reach this market? And are you building your company's products, services, operations, marketing, sales, finance to get to this market? Those are the parameters which will define your service addressable market. So if you're building a product, let's continue on that education theme. If you're building a product which is specifically for let's say you're going to build the product in Hindi, right? So the product is in Hindi, that is going to need an investment. That's how your technology would work, your product, your delivery, your people behind it who have knowledge of Hindi. Now you can launch the product only in Lucknow. Now, if you wanted to launch the product in Kerala, then the product has to be built in Malayalam too, which means there has to be an investment and everything behind it, the product investment, the sales marketing, the finances, your operations, your staff, everything has to be equipped to deliver the product in Malayalam. So that means you have to make that much investment. But are you going to make the product in Hindi and Malayalam at the same time? If you're going to make them at the same time, you have to have the appropriate force behind it, and then both can become a part of your service addressable market right now. But if that's not in your plan, then you start off in Hindi, so your service addressable market is only Uttar Pradesh, and maybe in 2024 or 2025, when you have the resources to build the product in Malayalam, then Kerala becomes a part of your service addressable market. But at the moment, Kerala is in your TAM. Any other questions? So this is just an example. There is no one formula to it, but you have to understand the intent of it. The intent of it is it a market that you are going to service or reach out to in the near future? Are your resources aligned to deliver to that market? And then once you've delivered to that market, where will you grow? All that growth opportunities become the TAM. You can make it as complex as you want. You can keep it as simple as you want.
I'm thinking from the mental health arena perspective, how am I supposed to?
So you can look
online,
at it different ways.
Audience.
Yeah, but then, I mean, I can talk a lot about mental health. Are you doing only talk therapy? Are you doing medication? Are you doing group therapy?
Medication, only therapy. And then
right. Are you doing counseling? Are you doing psychotherapy? Are you doing family therapy? Are you doing divorce therapy? So these are all possible services you can give, right? But if you're going to focus only on divorce therapy or only family therapy right now, so those become your service addressable market. And in the long-term future, then maybe you are going to grow into pediatric therapy or psychotherapy or group therapy. So those become a part of your TAM.
Okay. It's therapy based, and the TAM and the SAM are more therapy based, modality based rather than
modality based, right? And in the future, you may actually put psychiatrists. So there's medication management too. So that's the next service. That's another modality that you would include. So your SAM right now, let's say just divorce and family therapy, you have to build all your staff. You'd hire those staff who can deliver that kind of care. You will not hire a doctor, right? Because doctors don't really do family and divorce therapy. A psychiatrist, I mean.
Got it. So it's not necessarily only geography-based distinction. It could be
No,
any
it's
other
not.
attribute.
It could be anything. It could be anything. So that's why that SWOT analysis is important, to know what the strength and weakness and opportunities and threats are. That helps you define what market need and which market segment we are going to address first.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you very much for your time and thank you for contributing. It was a good session as always. It's good to hear different perspectives and different ideas. Simran and Ashish, let me know if there's something I missed. Yes, we can start wrapping up.
Yeah, so Simran, are you there? Okay. That's it. I think we can say thank you, Sonali, for an enlightening session. And if any of the participants have any further questions, please share them with Gaurav, and we'll try to get them to Sonali, and I'm sure she'll take some time to maybe help you offline.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah,
Feel free to
so
connect on
that's
LinkedIn.
it. Thanks a lot, Sonali. Thanks for your time. Thanks for all the insights. And thank you for all the participants for joining in today. Any further questions, you can send them to Gaurav at TiE Lucknow, and we'll see that they get to Sonali. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you all. Good luck. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Sonali.